Alright, it is time for my picks for this weekend. That includes Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And this time it is for the NFL and college football that is happening over this weekend. Also, for a little special, we will be doing the MLB World Series between the Astros and the Nationals, as this weekend is at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., and that will take place Friday and Saturday night. And I think the Astros are going to come away with a win in Game 3 on Friday night. And on Saturday, I think this one's going to be really close, and I think it could be a toss-up between the two. But I think the Astros will end up pulling it out in Game 4. I honestly think this series will go to the 7-game series, and it will be very interesting to the end of it. Alright, let's move on now to college football. And we are in week 9 for college football. So things are going to start coming down to the wire as we start rounding this thing out for the season. First game we got SMU versus Houston, and SMU opens as a 13.5 favorite over Houston. And I think SMU is going to win this game, but I think Houston will cover the spread, and I think it's going to be about 10 points that SMU will win by. Then we got USC and Colorado, and the spread's 13.5 points for USC, and I think USC will cover it. Then we have IU and Nebraska's the 2.5 point favorite here, and I think IU is going to win it, which would mean IU would cover the spread as well. Then we have Miami and Pitt is a 6-point favorite in here, and I think they will cover that as well with receiving the win. Then we have Oklahoma State versus Iowa State, and I think Iowa State will win this as the 10.5 point favorites, but I think Oklahoma State will keep it within those 10.5 points and beat the spread. Then we have Utah State versus Air Force. Air Force opens up as a 3.5 point favorite, and I think Air Force will cover that 3.5 points as long as taking the dub as well. Then we have Tulane versus Navy. Navy opens up as 3.5 point favorites as well, and I think they will win and cover the spread as well. Then we have Iowa versus Northwestern, as Iowa opens up as 10-point favorites. And I really think Northwestern could pull this one off, and it's going to be a close one. Northwestern's going to beat the spread. It's probably going to be a 3-point game, but Iowa will win this game. Then we have Virginia versus Louisville, and Virginia is the 3.5 point favorite here, but I think Louisville will beat Virginia and beat the spread as well with that. Then we have Penn State versus Michigan State. Penn State opens up as a 6.5 point favorite here, and I think Penn State will win this game, but I think Michigan State will cover the spread, and I think this is going to be a 3-point game. Then we have UCF versus Temple, and UCF opens at a 10.5 point favorite, and I think Temple will beat that 10.5 point favorites, and they will also win the game. Then we have Cal versus Utah, and this is a Pac-12 night game, so keep alert, anything happens for Pac-12 night. But Utah opens as the 21.5 point favorite. I think Cal will cover it, but Utah will win. Then we have Washington versus Oregon, and this is actually our second Pac-12 night game of the night. Oregon opens up as a 14-point favorite, and I think they'll cover that and win the game as well, of course. Then we have Wisconsin versus Ohio State. Ohio State opens, of course, as a 14-point favorite, and I honestly think Wisconsin is going to cover this 14 points, as Wisconsin's sort of on a revenge mission after losing to Illinois last week and getting completely upset. And Ohio State might think they have an easy road here, or they just might blow them out again. Who knows? We'll see. Then we got Notre Dame versus Michigan. And this line started out with Michigan favorite 4, and then moved down to 1. And now Notre Dame's the team that is favored by a point. And I think Notre Dame will win by a point and more, as they will win this ball game. Then we got Auburn versus LSU. LSU opens at 10.5 point favorites. And I think Auburn will cover that spread, keep it within 10 points. But LSU will win this game. So a quick recap. I have SMU, USC, IU, Pittsburgh, Iowa State, Air Force, Navy, Northwestern, Louisville, Penn State, Temple, Utah, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and LSU winning their games. Alright, and then we move on to the NFL, where almost every home team is favored in this, except for the Falcons and except for the Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs would be favored if Patrick Mahomes was playing. But anyways, let's move on to our Thursday night football game, as we got the Redskins versus the Vikings. And the Vikings open up as 16.5-point favorites. And I think the easy answer is the Vikings will win this game. But by 16.5 is almost a little bit of a stretch. But I think the Vikings will end up covering it. It will be close though. Then we have the Broncos versus the Colts. And the Colts open up as 5.5-point favorites. And put your money on them. The Colts will win this. And they will cover the spread quite easily. Put the hammer down. Then we have the Seahawks versus the Falcons. And the Seahawks open up as 5.5-point favorites. And I think it's good to hammer that one too, as the Seahawks will win, and with that 5.5-point favorite, and probably by a lot more than that. And then we got the Eagles versus the Bills, and the Bills open up as a 2.5-point favorite. I think the Bills will win this game. I do think it will be close. I think it might be on a field goal. Then we have the Chargers versus the Bears. Kind of dumpster fire between teams that were supposed to be good, but they aren't, because either their defense isn't playing up to par or their quarterback is trash. And the Bears are 3.5-point favorites in this game. I think the Bears will win this game, but the Chargers will end up beating the spread. And then we have the Giants versus the Lions, where the Lions open up as 7-point favorites. I honestly think this game could be exactly a 7-point game, but I think I'll take the Lions with the win, and they'll beat the 7-point favorites. Then we have the Bucks versus the Titans, and Titans open up as 2.5-point favorites. And I'm thinking that Jameis Winston's going to have one of those games where he just balls out. And I will be taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat the Tennessee Titans. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the LA Rams, and the Rams open up as 13-point favorites. And as long as the weather stays quite clear, and then the Rams will win this game by more than 13 points. Then we have the Cardinals versus the Saints, and the Saints open up as 10.5-point favorites. And I think the Saints will definitely reach that 10.5-point favorite line, and they will easily win this game. Then we have the New York Jets versus the Jaguars, and the Jaguars open up as 6-point favorites. And I think the Jaguars will win this game, but the New York Jets will beat the spread, as I think the Jets are kind of on a revenge mission after getting absolutely embarrassed on Monday Night Football on national TV. But who knows? Sam Darnold's out there seeing ghosts, so let's just move on from that. Then we have the Panthers versus the 49ers, and the 49ers open as 5.5-point favorites. And I think the Carolina Panthers are going to surprise some people and end up pulling out this game and winning it. I think this game will be very, very close, but the Carolina Panthers will win this game. Then we have the Cleveland Browns versus the New England Patriots. Patriots, 13-point favorites. It's the Patriots. They're going to win this game and win it by more than 13. Then we have the Raiders versus the Texans, and the Texans open up as 7-point favorites. I was originally going to choose the Raiders for this game, but then, middle of the week, Gareon Conley got traded from the Raiders to the Texans and is playing against the Raiders now. So, I think the Raiders are going to end up beating the spread, but I don't think Conley's going to let them beat his team now in Houston, so the Texans will end up winning this game. Then we have the Green Bay Packers versus Kansas City Chiefs. And the Packers open up as 3.5-point favorites, and they will cover that with ease without Patrick Mahomes at quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it might end up getting ugly, I'm thinking. Then we have one of the best Monday Night Football games of the year between Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers open up as 14.5-point favorites. I think Micah Fitzpatrick is going to go off against his old team, and the Steelers will cover the spread and win this game. So, just a quick recap. I have the Vikings, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Bills, the Bears, the Lions, the Buccaneers, the Rams, the Saints, the Jaguars, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Texans, the Packers, and the Steelers winning their games. So, what are your guys' picks for this weekend for football and the World Series? Also, what other suggestions for sports videos do you guys have for me down below? I'd like to hear them, and who knows, your suggestion may just be one of the next videos. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to click on those links down below. There's Discord, Instagram, Twitter, and there's a Patreon link as well. Also, just make sure keep that sports week flowing throughout the day.